All right, so can you tell me your full name and your title, position, who you're with?
So my name is Brad Phillips, and I direct the Institute for Evidence-Based Change. I'm the president CEO.
Perfect. And so tell me a little bit about your role here at this year's Dual Summit.
Sure. So one of the things that we do across the nation is we wrote a book on data use in the community colleges for Harvard Education Press. And that book is helping educators use data to better understand what's happening to students and to then leverage that data for an impetus for change. So here at the conference, they asked me to talk about using data in a storytelling format to support the educators here so that they can really advocate for their program and the great work that they do.
Gotcha.
So I am not an expert in dual credit, so dual credit is growing like crazy. In fact, when you think about it, there's a book that's written, it's called Demographics and the Demand for Higher Education. And this book was written by Nathan Grau. And it talks about how in 2008, during the Great Recession, couples were worried about losing their house, let alone having a family. And so there's a demographic dip that is coming and is really starting. And because of that demographic dip, enrollment has gone way down in terms of the available students. So community colleges are now more than ever focusing on dual enrollment in order to bring their numbers up. So what I've seen in terms of dual enrollment itself is it's much more codified. It's a much easier process than it used to be. The other thing that I've seen that I really like is it used to be that dual enrollment was more for the high-end students to get them started in college early on. But the reality is many students can be successful in college, and dual enrollment helps cement that fact. Because we really want to serve those students that are also on the bubble. Maybe they're going to go to college, maybe they won't, but then they get a taste of college and they like it. And so dual enrollment I've seen increasing over time.
Perfect. And I mean, right where you were, right? You didn't like high school, but you did dual credit and you made it.
Wasn't sure I was going to go to college.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. And so then today, what was your overall goal with not only your keynote message, but with your breakout session, because you also had a breakout session.
My goal is to empower people with simple techniques to help them get their message across through the use of data. So it's not technical, it's not sharing data in a particular way or using particular statistical techniques, but rather here is how to engage with your audience so that they have something that they can do. So we call that the ask. So in the session that I just did, what we talk about is, what's your headline? That is, what do you want that audience to remember? And they actually presented on that, which was a lot of fun. Then they talked about their story about why this is important, and then they did the ask about what they wanted the audience to do. And that's really critical. So tell them what this is about, make it simple to understand, and then work towards, we need your help.
Gotcha. And why is this so important? What is the major piece of help that these professionals are looking for that you heard in your session?
My sense is that data is always tough for people, and you say the word data and they run screaming. A lot of folks don't like math. They have statistics classes that they went through in high school and college and they didn't like. And so my idea is to essentially make data more consumable. And one of the things that I always talk about is it's fine to share numbers, but the real impactful part of this is that story behind the numbers, because that's what people remember. In fact, we did an exercise where someone quoted a number, and I said, okay, how many of you remember that number? And it was 2,900 and something. And I said, okay, perhaps if we said almost 3,000 openings, that they'll remember. So you don't have to be so detailed. You can just speak in generalities, because what you're trying to do is get people to feel in a certain way.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, do you have any other additional comments regarding being here at today's conference?
Well, I'm honored to be here and be asked to keynote. This is such an important issue. There's so many students, and my story is an example of that, where they can improve their lives. And dual enrollment is one of the ways to have that opportunity to see what they can do, what they can be, and how they can essentially get out of a life of poverty, change the course that they're on now, and really, for many first-generation students, know that college is possible, and dual enrollment affords that opportunity.